when Amelia Hart went into labor on a rainy October evening. The maternity ward at St. Alden's Hospital felt ordinary. Bright lights, the beeping of monitors, the steady rhythm of footsteps in the corridor. Her husband, Daniel, kept time with his breath, counting through each contraction while Nurse Leah checked Amelia's vitals and offered practiced reassurance. By midnight, everything changed. Amelia's pulse began to race, then stutter. The baby's heart rate dipped. Dr. Harris, the on-call obstetrician, exchanged a glance with Leah and called for additional staff. Words like fetal distress and possible hemorrhage cut through the room. Daniel's face went pale as he was gently moved aside so the team could work. "Amelia, stay with me," Leah said, her voice firm but kind. "Keep your eyes on me." Amelia tried. She really did. But the pain surged, then receded in a way that felt wrong, like a tide pulling too hard. A cold wave washed over her, numbing her hands first, then the rest of her. The ceiling lights grew hazy, like stars through fog. Then everything went silent. Silence, full, ringing, impossible. The beeping monitors fell away. The air itself felt sharper, cleaner. Amelia realized she was standing, though she couldn't remember standing up, and the light around her wasn't the harsh white of the hospital, but a softer luminosity that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. "Amelia." She turned. A woman stood a few steps away, robed in something that was not fabric yet moved like it, silvery, weightless. Her hair was the color of winter sunlight. Her eyes were warm and steady. She wasn't frightening. She wasn't even unfamiliar. It felt like recognizing someone you've always known, but had somehow forgotten. "You've walked very far," the woman said, "but not far enough to be lost." Amelia looked down. Below, or perhaps behind, her, dim and distant, she could see a room that looked like her delivery suite. Daniel's hands knotted together, Dr. Harris giving short, urgent orders, Leah preparing something at the counter. A monitor flickered flat for a beat that stretched too long. "Is that me?" Amelia asked, though she already knew. The woman inclined her head. For a moment, a tremor of panic ran through Amelia. Not fear of the woman, but fear of losing the small, bright thread that had brought her to this day. "My baby, my daughter, is she waiting?" The woman's voice was gentle. "So are they." Amelia's gaze clung to the scene below. She could not hear sound, but she felt it. The weight of Daniel's prayer, the tight focus of the medical team, the stubborn rhythm of a life insisting on being born. "What is this place?" Amelia asked. "The threshold," the woman said, "where choices are clearer than they seem on the other side." Amelia swallowed. "I'm not ready to leave them." "Then don't." A small smile touched the woman's mouth, not triumphant, simply kind. "But if you go back, you must carry what you have seen, so you do not forget what matters when the lights are bright and the hours are long." A breeze, not air, but something like it, moved around them. In it, Amelia heard distant music, not a melody exactly, more a memory of one. Her mother humming when she was a child, the soft, rhythmical beat of a heart that was not hers, the whisper of a name she had loved from the first moment she imagined it. "Evelyn," Amelia said. The name felt like an anchor. The woman's eyes brightened. "Then go to her." "Ow!" The woman lifted a hand. Amelia noticed, with a start, that there was a small mark near the woman's wrist, a faint crescent, as if a moonbeam had touched her. It was familiar in a way that made Amelia's chest ache. "Close your eyes," the woman said, "and when you open them, breathe." "Will I see you again?" Amelia asked. The woman's smile deepened slightly. "You only ever see me when you need to." The light pulsed, once, twice. Amelia closed her eyes. Sound rushed back all at once. The slap of rubber saws on tile, the clipped instructions, the electric bark of a defibrillator charging, Daniel saying her name over and over like it was the only word he remembered. Pain followed, clean and bright, tethering her to the present. Amelia inhaled, a rough, tearing breath. Leah's face appeared above her, eyes shining. "There you are," she whispered. "Breathe for me, Amelia." "That's it." Dr. Harris didn't look away from his work, but Amelia heard a thread of relief in his voice as he called out numbers. Something shifted. Then the smallest sound in the world, fragile and fierce at once, a newborn's cry. Daniel laughed and sobbed in the same breath. He pressed his forehead to Amelia's, both of them shaking. "She's here," he said. "She's here." They placed the baby on Amelia's chest, warm and perfect and wailing indignantly. Amelia touched the soft down of her daughter's hair and felt a calm settle over her, deeper and truer than anything she had known. "Evelyn, of course. Time of birth, 12:14 a.m., Leah said. Amelia blinked. 12:14. She had no reason to fix on the number, and yet she did. She tucked it away without knowing why. Recovery took time. There were bruises and stitches and the slow, unglamorous work of healing. But Amelia found herself quieter than before. Not withdrawn, just attentive. She lingered over small moments. The weight of Evelyn's hand curled around her finger. The way Daniel fell asleep sitting up, still wearing the hospital visitor badge. The hush of dawn edging the bedroom curtains. 2 weeks later, they returned to St. Albans for a routine check. Dr. Harris reviewed Amelia's chart, tapping the page lightly with his pen. There was a brief, arrhythmic episode, he said, careful but matter-of-fact. Your heart paused for 47 seconds. We were preparing for a transfer when it corrected. You came back quickly. 47 seconds, Daniel repeated, his voice low. Leah, who had stopped in to see the baby, smiled at Evelyn and then at Amelia. You scared us, she said softly. Amelia opened her mouth to thank them, then closed it again as a memory surfaced. Soft light, a steady voice, a hand lifting, a faint crescent near the wrist. Can I ask you something? She said to Leah. Do you wear a bracelet with a small moon charm? Leah looked surprised. I do, she said, tugging back her sleeve. A tiny crescent moon dangled there, catching the fluorescent lights. My grandmother's. A shiver, not of fear, but recognition, moved through Amelia. The shape was right, but the mark she remembered hadn't been metal. It had been part of the skin itself. She didn't try to explain. Some things belonged to quiet. As they were leaving, Daniel paused at the nurse's station to sign a form. Amelia glanced up at the wall clock. 12:14 p.m. She smiled despite herself. Months passed. On a foggy morning in March, Amelia carried Evelyn into the nursery. The baby was unusually alert, watching a patch of light move across the wall. She gurgled, then reached outward to the empty corner of the room and laughed. A clear, bell-like sound. What do you see? Amelia whispered, half to humor, half to honor the question. For a heartbeat, the air shifted. Nothing dramatic, just the gentle pressure of being observed by something that loved you. Amelia could almost hear it again. Close your eyes. When you open them, breathe. She did as she was told. She breathed. She looked down at her daughter and felt gratitude so sharp it bordered on ache. Later, when Evelyn learned her first words, one of them, unexpectedly, was Leah. They had never taught it to her. It simply arrived, as if remembered. Amelia didn't argue with mysteries anymore. She didn't need proof or explanations to make sense of what had happened on the edge of that October night. She carried it the way you carry a blessing, lightly, carefully, with both hands. Sometimes when the house is quiet and the baby is asleep and Daniel has drifted off on the sofa, Amelia stands by the window and watches the street lamps burn their steady halos into the dark. She touches the inside of her wrist where no mark shows and whispers a thank you to the one who stood at the threshold and turned her back toward the living. And then she does the simplest, bravest thing. She breathes.